Hey, what's up, y'all? What's going on, gang? It's me, Eddie G, and I'm here back again with another brand new episode of, you guessed it, Eddie G's Comic Culture. Once again, here we go. As I let y'all know, the show is still sponsored by the great folks over at Black Apparel, so make sure you check out their website at www.blackapparelblk.com. Special shout outs to my brother Kevin out in Jersey for hooking up the show, for all the work that he's put in. Make sure you stop over at the website, my brothers and sisters. They got some great products for you for the summertime. They got some good tees and tank tops, graphic tees, or anything that you want is all. It's definitely there. So make sure you check them out. Also, special shout out to my good friends over at Nerdy Blurb TV. Make sure you guys get ready for that Fandom Initiative Part 2 that I participated in. That wonderful project with a bunch of wonderful individuals, great like-minded, cats just like myself, all into this, nothing but the pop culture love, man. So make sure y'all check it out. It's gonna be the Avengers Endgame review. We discussed, about that movie that's been keeping everybody spun since the real summer kickoff season. Exactly, that had everybody talking in water coolers, schools, professors, halls, when colleges, all everywhere. So with that being said, let's of course I cannot forget my Instagram family, Channel 3 Productions, Blu-ray Dan, so on and so forth. Dennis Knight and all the whole staff over at Pronto Comics. Yes. So now as I'm here kicking off this next episode, that's right, y'all. Not to be overlooked, DC has made some announcements this month. Apparently they did put out the steelbook cover of Shazam. And looks fantastic. If you guys haven't seen it, it's coming out soon on Blu-ray in July. Wonderful film. It's actually the best thing yet coming out of the DCCU, guys. So make sure you guys check it up and scoop it out. And but mainly the news that's been going on has been this Robert Pattinson casting. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Dark Knight, a new Batman. This movie should be taking off sometime in the year 2021, early 2021 summer, and it'll be directed by the one and only Matt Reeves, who was heavily involved in the last Planet of the Apes trilogy. He directed the last film, which was amazing, by the way, guys. Make sure if you haven't seen it, it was a definite tapper for that, man. That shit was tops, bro. That last movie was definitely tops, but it was all dope as hell. And obviously, of course, with the response of that comes the internet reactions. Now, this is where we get into. I'm gonna go into this because I'm gonna be flirting, as this is gonna deal with a few. I guess you could say the theme in this is going to revolve around toxic fandom. And as you can see, I got some stuff I want to get off my chest, as I just gave you that stretch just now. Well, at this point, it looks like already the negative reactions. It hasn't been all negative. Let me stop right there. It hasn't been all negative regarding his casting. So far, it's been a kind of like a more or less a mixed bag. People there are people out there who are aware of his acting capabilities, outside of the Twilight movies. A lot of people, unfortunately, are using that and painting that as a portrayal of him completely, and it's really not a good look so far, because this has been going on for God knows how long, man. Since '89. Before it was 1988 when they announced that Michael Keaton was cast originally as Batman in the Tim Burton films, and every one of these castings was always met with some sort of grand negative reception. This is and it's a lot of it is just toxic fandom. Sometimes they have their reasons or whatever, but Keaton proved that he can actually deliver. And he did. He's still considered that. He's actually still regarded as the best Batman till this day. The live action portrayal, because he was, he may not have had, for what it was at the time, he may not have had the moves of Christian Bale that did, all the martial arts and that Bale and Affleck may have mastered or whatever. But he still had that aura. He still had some fighting skills, honestly. Whatever limited they allowed him to, because that suit was incredibly heavy at that time. But his aura, his presence, and this is coming from a guy who's not even he's 5'9". That's a pretty generally average height. and he still managed to make it work. Not only that, he owned that bitch. So you can't say that he's not, like, like, you can't say that these that I get sometimes, like I said, sometimes they are with, they do have merit. Some of these complaints have merit, but for the most part they're really just founded on a bunch of bullshit. And so of course, the toxic fandom begins, and they start with the nonsense petitions. Now, first and foremost, these petitions, I don't understand why these fans don't get it. Like, they don't work. They don't ever work. They don't even make a dent they don't even make a dent in anything that they're trying to get, in anything that they're trying to get done, at any point that they're trying to get across, or whatever goal they're trying to accomplish. It does nothing. It has absolutely zero effect and zero positive effect altogether. If anything, it just draws a negative attention towards them and makes them look foolish in its own way. So, like I said, the petitions really started to go around, and I guess some of them started to near their goal. But like I said, it doesn't mean jack shit. So it's not going to do anything. He's still going to be Batman, and at this point, it's looking like he may be the best iteration of Batman, considering the material he's going to be working with. Because what Matt Reeves has been really driving the stake on the point of that the movie's going to be very noir driven. And it's going to be very, focused on Batman being the world's greatest detective. So at this point, it's looking like we're getting the accurate Batman we've all been wanting for quite some time. Yeah, he's going to end up having, of course, the guy's got to, because he's skinny as all hell, the guy's going to end up, he's got to bulk, put on at least 60 pounds. At least 60 pounds. Because this, he's just, the guy's a tube, he looks like he can, like I said before, the man looks like he could walk through prison bars if he could just hold his breath. So he definitely needs to gain a lot of weight within that time frame. But it looks like it's shaping up to be very well. It's already been confirmed that there's the two villains out of the 6 rumored villains that this movie's going to have. That it's already been confirmed that Catwoman and Penguin are going to be involved. The others, I have no idea. Obviously, there's Riddler, and there's also been rumblings going around about Robin being in the movie as well. So, with that being said, the movie's going to be pretty long. I imagine this to be a long film for it to be because I think they made a report that the script came in at 185 pages or something like that. That's pretty big for a movie script. So, a lot of it's going to be, and I'm extremely excited. The reason why I'm excited is because they're going back to London to film the movie. So I want to know if they're going to go back to practical sets. I would love to have a certain style revisit to the Burton Gotham City in the first Batman film, because I think that is the iconic Gotham City. It represents it perfectly. It's a gothic cathedral aligned gargoyles on all high rises and skyscrapers. I mean, that's exactly what you think of when you think about Gotham City, and I think they really should go back to that foundation and utilize that to a T, especially now with the practical effects and the CGI that they could use on top of that. It looks great, but I'm very excited to that. I'm very excited to see what the outcome is going to be, the finished product. And hopefully, I doubt we'll get any kind of. I highly doubt we'll get a teaser trailer by 2020, by Comic Con next summer. I doubt it. If we get that, it'll be a shot in the dark, honestly. But I think we may see something late in the obviously something late next year in 2020. But speaking of which, since we're talking Batman. Finally, Tom King seems to be finally he's ending his Batman run. Apparently, he's ending his Batman run a lot early. He kicked off the Batman title for the Rebirth event in 2016 after Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo left, of course. And quite frankly, I could not be any more satisfied with the news of him leaving early. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, guys. Let me tell you something. This right here has been some of the the most boring stories I've ever seen in my life. I just don't get it. Like, seriously? I'm so, bro. I was so stumped because I've heard that he did so much good. He did a lot of good work apparently on Mr. Miracle, and I think he did work on the New Gods, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so he had like a pretty good run considering that they were gonna let him, because he was gonna rock. They were gonna let him rock until like issue number 100. So to me that was kind of crazy. But then, of course, his the whole debacle with the Catwoman and Batman wedding not falling through and everything else was really, I think, was what really kind of like, I think it really hit him. I think it really hurt him really a lot worse than they let on. So I guess that's why they're kind of ending it. I think at issue number 85. But he was supposed to be at it. He was supposed to be a 100 issue run. 85 is still pretty good considering the fact that he started from issue that he kicked off since issue number 1. But in all honesty, I really don't understand exactly what the hell took them so long to make this decision. I mean, I was reading the trade for the first volume alone off the book was boring as hell. The appeal, the writing, it just did not grasp me. It did not keep it. I had a hard time keeping my attention to that. It was boring. It was just boring. And to make matters worse, they kept him on for this long. Like, I don't understand sometimes I don't understand DC's movement sometimes. They take some of their top tier characters should always have their best talent. They should always have their best talent, bar none. There should never be. That should be non-negotiable. That's not even something that should be or if not, then they should have at least the top promising talent that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Not just these regular, but it also goes to show that not everyone is a good fit for characters. Because this guy, like I said, he did a fantastic job with Mr. Miracle and the New Gods and so on and so forth. But he just wasn't a good fit for Batman. He really wasn't a good fit for Batman. Even outside of the Catwoman debacle, I didn't feel anything that he was writing. Not the way that Scott Snyder did. Scott Snyder, no matter what, Scott was just I'm sorry. Say what you want to say. You can have your criticisms. You can say that he's taken inspirations here from here and there. Fine. The man knows how to write a damn good Batman book. And he's been doing so for years. So the fact that his departure from the title was pretty bad, kind of hurt. It really did. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to talk shit. It really did hurt. So it was really... I know he's writing one more. I know he's writing one more storyline with Greg Capullo, but if I'm not mistaken, but I've heard that I believe that's their final Batman story, which sucks, really sucks, because they're the perfect team for the Dark Knight. They've done wonders for the Dark Knight. They were the only ones. They were the only ones who actually kept the titles stellar throughout their run in the New 52. Outside of Aquaman and Wonder Woman, of course, Superman was just a complete Superman was a complete clusterfuck all the way around. Outside of Action Comics, they had Grant Morrison writing things, but everything else, the Superman title in itself just went. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but whatever. But thankfully, yes, Tom King will be finishing up his run on Batman issue number 85. Hopefully, I'm not so sure who they're bringing in to replace him yet. I hope that they learned their lesson. But given past instances, I guess you don't know what they're gonna do. You can never tell what they're gonna do. So with that being said, I also want to discuss. Damn, that's some good fruit punch. But reverting back to my Robert Pattinson segment of this show, I want to talk about how apparently Zack Snyder gave his blessing to Robert Pattinson. And of course, I got to think to myself, and I know you got to think to yourself as well, like, who the fuck is Zack Snyder to give any kind of blessing in the first place? This man single-handedly imploded an entire universe on the birthing table, on the launch pad. He killed it on the birthing table itself. So what the fuck does he think his blessing comes from? And let me tell you guys something. I want to. This is a type of conversation that I want to discuss because I don't ever participate in flame wars. But Heroic Hollywood posted up an article not too long ago regarding the Snyder Cut again. Yes, the fabled mythos of the fucking Snyder Cut. All right. Apparently, there was some sort of group now. The fans are trying to raise donations to have Warner Brothers finish it and have them put it out. Now, I've made my mention before about these cultists, because that's what they are. These Snyder fans are cultists. They're not really comic book fans at all. If anything, they're New 52 fans, and they're not picking up anything of the new stuff. They're not picking up any of the Rebirth titles either as well, which really reverts them back to the originality, the basic principles of these characters. But for the most part, these people are just really toxic individuals that are just obsessed with the fact that they saw murderous Batman and Superman on screen, and they're never going to get that again. So of course they're throwing a hissy fit, and they want to show their ass. So I made a comment on that thread, on Heroic Hollywood's thread, and I said, how pissed are these people going to be when they see that those donations are going to do absolutely nothing? Now, granted, those donations are they were being sent to a charity, which is good. Charitable donations is very well, that's a very honorable thing for them to do. However, at this point, the horse is already beyond dead. The horse is decomposed, and it is now fertilizer. It is now dirt in this road. It's now earth. It's soil. You feel me? Like, there's no reason for them to continue to reach for this, but they're doing it. And I made the comment, and of course, letting it be known, this fandom of theirs is getting sickening already, and it's quite tiresome and exhausting. I don't care for these individuals. I don't care for a cut that's not going to come out ever, period. Especially from someone who almost single-handedly destroyed this fucking universe from the get-go. And of course, I didn't word my comment in that way. I just I let it be known that there's no way that it was going to happen. And of course, what happens? I get my responses. I get my responses from his fans, his rabid fans. Let me tell you guys something. I was in this debate that spanned over a fucking week with this guy. He would literally take 8 to 13 hours, sometimes an entire day, to respond to me. Now, first and foremost, he called me out because I spoke my opinion. Else, and he of course stated his opinion as to what he loved, and he wanted this, that, and a third. And I could tell by the way he was directing his comments, he was getting ready for the offensive. So I had to keep my guard up, but I didn't attack the guy. I didn't attack him, and I didn't go ahead and I didn't critique him yet either. He was pushing my buttons. So he was pushing my buttons. So he started making his ridiculous comments, his ridiculous point, his delusional points, basically, as to how the Snyderverse is still his fans. This is how fucking warped his fans are. His fans still believe that he's still a key creative component, that the DC Cinematic Universe is still using his ideas, that they're still utilizing him in that capacity, when they've already clearly made it. That Snyder's name is only is only being used for a producer credit, and it is literally a producer credit in name only, nothing else. So this cat automatically tells me, I'm just a hater. He says that I'm just trying to go back, and I just love, and Batman, what I didn't like about his portrayals of Superman, and what I didn't like about his and all his other stupid little fucking quirks that he did throughout the entire movie. And of course they decided to give me their stupid horse shit response. Batman and Superman has killed in the comics. Let me tell you something, asswipe. I've been reading comic books for 30 years. You're not going to school me nothing about the history of these characters. And the only person that's going to be doing some learning regarding these characters is y'all. If y'all want to contest, and this goes to the Snyder fans out there that feel like they need to go ahead and contest me on that. I'm letting it be known right about now. My knowledge on these characters is far more vast than you will with that ridiculousness. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the fact that those characters may have killed in the past, they have killed in the past, but those instances are so far and few in between that when they actually do happen, it's usually a part of an event. It's usually a part of a major storyline. It's not just some. It's not a regular day-to-day issue-to-issue occurrence with these characters. It's not a norm. So when it happens, it's a major issue. It's a major event. And the fact that it was going on willy-nilly throughout the movies completely took everything out of the characters. So of course he decided to call me a Marvel tard or God knows whatever. So I had to cut him off. I just told him, you know what? You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about whatsoever. You feel that you have some sort of knowledge regarding. You feel that you have this perspective on these characters that no one else is seeing. When realistically speaking, you just have a pretentious bullshit. With that being said, there was nothing about Superman that Superman is not conflicted. Superman is never conflicted about doing the right thing. Oh, but you want to see him? Oh, so you just want to see him save cats out of trees? You know what? That's what makes him that much more relatable to the little people, the quote unquote little people, you could say. You know, that's what makes him more relatable to the day to day person, to the general audience. The movies that the audience that these movies are appealing to. The same goes with Batman. Batman was never was never adoptive of that murderous rampage. Absolutely not. And he highly, and it's almost religiously, he explains every year why he doesn't do it in every one of his comic books. No matter what, it doesn't matter whether it's Detective Comics, whether it's Batman and Robin, whatever the title may be. Every year, that point is usually stressed at somewhere down the line. So don't tell me that these characters have done it before in the comics. Don't try to use that bullshit as a scapegoat for your pretentious representation of these characters, because that's exactly what they are. There's no masterpiece to it, which is exactly what this guy tried to tell me, what he tried to explain to me, what he tried to describe to me. But Kevin Feige, the head of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has said it himself. What is his inspiration for each and every one of these films, for each and every one of those Marvel movies that come out? And you know what he says? That film is the template that they built their universe on, the foundation that they use. So don't tell me that that's not relatable, that that's played out, because that's a crock of shit. You want to see something like that? They got movies like Brightburn out right now, and quite a bit more. They're getting really creative with horror films as well as action movies. But don't take these characters, don't take these generations old and loved. Shit, they're damn near on their way to being a century. Don't muck up their legacies for cheap sensationalism, because that's what that shit is. Just cheap violence. What these characters are about. And if that's what you're getting out of these comic books, then I think you need to take a quick look at yourselves. I'm not here to judge or criticize anybody. You can like whatever you like. But at the end of the day, like the way these things are being portrayed, you don't like the way these characters are being portrayed, you don't like comic, but you want to see shit like that, be creative and create your own character. So, with that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to break out right about now, but you already know the drill. You guys have any questions or comments, hit the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are y'all waiting for? Hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, take care.